Welcome to Sportscaster News. I'm Lawrence Owen with your news for today. And what news do I have for you? We have two quarterbacks looking officially to be traded from their teams. Earlier this week, Matthew Stafford, it was reported that he requested a trade from the team. And then this morning, Deshaun Watson. It has become official. Deshaun Watson has requested a trade. Now, both of these teams, specifically these quarterbacks, they've asked for a trade due to, one can only assume, having to do with management and ownership of the team, of what's gone on with their organizations while they've been with them. They don't want to be there. They don't see how this team will become good in the near future. Now, both these quarterbacks, it's rare. It is incredibly rare that you see even one big-time franchise quarterback request a trade to get on the open market, let alone two, and before even free agency even starts to hit the field. But now we're in that situation. Two very solid franchise quarterbacks with similar situations. Deshaun Watson obviously has won their division multiple years, has made the playoffs, won playoff games. Matthew Stafford, quite a long time in Detroit, still has plenty of gas in the tank, but just has never been surrounded with weapons. Now, we got these two teams that are going to be in need of a quarterback themselves as they trade out. So what teams would be interested in Deshaun Watson and Matthew Stafford? Well, let's get into it. Let's start off over in the AFC East, where we have, well, quite frankly, the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots would be happy with either of these quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson or Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, and they have a draft pick to go with. Now, the thing is, I believe Deshaun Watson will cost more than what Matthew Stafford will. He's younger, he has higher potential than what Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is more of an arm talent, whereas Deshaun Watson is a playmaker. So if New England wants, I believe, at minimum, you're going to expect a Deshaun Watson trade to involve possibly 2 first-round picks. Even if the Houston Texans are readily trying to move on from him and trade him, his demand will be massive in the NFL, and there will be a trade war for him. Now, there could be a trade war with Matthew Stafford, but I don't know if it'll be on the same level as it is with Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson is considered a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, whereas I believe Matthew Stafford, the argument can be made that he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So that large of a difference will drop in. When you're talking about a top 5 quarterback, you're talking about two first-round picks and at least a first-round pick for a top 10. New England, I think, right now would probably want Deshaun Watson over Matthew Stafford. And they have a high draft pick this year. So they have that chance to say, I'll give you this year's first and next year's first for Deshaun Watson. And I think that is something that could legitimately happen. Now, does New England have a problem with needing more than just a quarterback? Absolutely. They are short some run stoppers in their front 7 of the defense. They need some weapons at wide receiver and at tight end. But Deshaun Watson has proven time and time again that he could overcome the lack of weapons on offense to raise a team and will a team to win. So he's worth those 2 first-round picks. Now the question is the Houston Texans willing to trade him in their own conference. Now, granted, that just means the only way that the Houston Texans would face Deshaun Watson if he was traded to New England would be once every 4 years. And then, of course, if they face him in the playoffs. But playoffs are a big deal. How often do you expect New England to make the playoffs? Well, even with Tom Brady out, dropping a Deshaun Watson in there, in my opinion, just increases New England's chance even more so because of the lack of talent around him. I believe they have a great defense. This is something that Deshaun hasn't had since his rookie year. The Houston Texans used to have a very good defense. They have kind of let up since J.J. Watt's kind of went down a little bit. Whitney Merciless has went down. Jadeveon Clowney's out. Tyrann Mathieu is gone. So, yeah, there is holes in that defense now. Now, New England, they got a great defense, pass defense. They've got and they got the cap room to go out and get somebody if they so choose. New England hasn't been exceptional with their first-round picks in the drafts as of late. So I could see New England offering the 2 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please take a moment, smash that like button, and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so that you're notified next time I go live or upload a video. I go live once a week, at least 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday, and I upload videos all the time for the entire NFL. So please, give me a follow, smash that like button, and until next time, have a good one. Now, what about the AFC South? Some people would say, well, the Indianapolis Colts, they're in need of a quarterback, and a Deshaun Watson would be great for that team, and absolutely he would. However, there is no chance. I don't care if Chris Ballard for the Indianapolis Colts offered the Houston Texans 4 first-round draft picks. There is no chance the Houston Texans would trade within their division to where not only do they have to possibly face them in the playoffs, but also twice a year, every year. There's just no possible way that that's going to happen. I don't see any chance that Deshaun Watson ends up on the Indianapolis Colts unless, the only slim chance is unless another team trades for Watson by using their draft capital and somehow with the intent of not telling the Texans that they're going to trade then Watson to the Colts for even more draft capital. But that's just going to increase the draft capital redundantly. And I don't see that Chris Ballard doing something of that nature. I mean, it would take, like I said, at that point, it would be 4 firsts. All right? In order to do a trade of that nature. Now, we go on to the North. Obviously, Cincinnati's not needing of a quarterback. Baltimore's not needing of a quarterback. Cleveland's not needing of a quarterback. Now, Pittsburgh could be interested in a quarterback, but Ben Roethlisberger's not going anywhere this year because of the trade. My goodness, I mean, his cap hit would be ridiculous if they let Ben Roethlisberger go. Now, could they trade Ben Roethlisberger to Houston, and then add a first-round pick to it? That's possible. But Ben Roethlisberger, over the last couple years, hasn't looked all that good, correct? So, I don't know if that's the situation that Pittsburgh would be able to find themselves in a good portion in this trade. I don't know if they have the opportunity to do so because they're in cap hell. And their starting quarterback is part of the reason. There is a team in the South, in the AFC South, that I did forget, Jacksonville Jaguars. They do have Gardner Minshew. But they currently are in a rebuild phase. And there's no way that they're going to get Deshaun Watson. None. No way. Same reason why the Colts won't get him. So and would Deshaun Watson be a benefit to the team? Absolutely. But it's in division. I don't see it happening. Now in the AFC West, the only team that I see that might do it. Now, hold on. Obviously the Broncos could, okay? Because Drew Lock has not shown that he can be the starter over in Denver. But, which I could absolutely see Denver trading for Deshaun Watson. It would take 2 firsts, or a first, a second, and Drew Lock. I could see that as well for Deshaun Watson. But don't write out the Los Angeles Raiders either. Or Las Vegas Raiders, sorry. The Raiders could very well legitimately trade Carr for Watson in exchange for like a first and a third. I could see that happening. Or a first and a fourth. Or just Carr and a first. That's definitely a situation to look out for. Now, as I sit here and I see McChicken down there saying Washington is a sleeper to get either of these guys, I absolutely agree. McChicken. Because that's actually where I'm going to now. Now, Dallas, depending upon what happens there, that's a situation where, if they re-sign Dak Prescott, there's no possible chance. If they don't, they still have Andy Dalton, but who wouldn't rather have Matthew Stafford or, But then again, they're in cap hell as well, so I don't know if Dallas could even attempt to do so. The Giants, they are enamored with Daniel Jones. And I wouldn't give up on Jones quite yet. After a second season, I think Jones has the potential, has shown the potential. I don't know if I'd give up on him yet. Philadelphia, I don't think will be in the market. They just hired an offensive coordinator. That is obvious with their intent with Carson Wentz. And, of course, they have Jalen Hurts still sitting there. And then as we get to Washington, look, Alex Smith is a good quarterback. I'm not going to lie. I like Alex Smith. Alex Smith, to me, is kind of Ryan Fitzpatrick. That journeyman quarterback that could go anywhere. But if I was going to get somebody, I don't know if I put Matt Stafford on Washington. Because they don't have a great offensive line. And Stafford has been dealing with no offensive line, and it's probably one of the reasons why he wants out of Detroit. Now, a guy who legitimately could go there because of the coaching situation with Ron Rivera is Deshaun Watson. There was rumor that Deshaun Watson said he wanted to play for a coach of color. Well, Ron Rivera is a very well-respected coach. So, Deshaun Watson going to Washington is legit if Washington is willing to pay the 2 firsts to get him. We'll see. Now, Chicago, they have Mitchell Trubisky, they have Nick Foles. There's no way on God's green earth they're getting Matt Stafford for the exact same reasons why the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts ain't getting Deshaun Watson. But they could be in the boat for Deshaun Watson. But they're kind of sitting in a no good cap situation either. I mean, there's even questions if they're going to be able to hold on to their star wide receiver, Allen Robinson. That's got me in questions because Deshaun Watson just signed a very massive long-term contract extension this past season. Can they afford him? That's the only thing I think that's holding them back. And that is also the only team that I see in the NFC North that could be interested in a quarterback. Moving on. Now, depending upon what happens with the Atlanta Falcons, are they going to move on from Matt Ryan? If they move on from Matt Ryan, they could be in for an upgrade, looking for an upgrade, because in my opinion, Matthew Stafford, again, him and Matt Ryan, kind of on similar terms. But I think Deshaun Watson is a different style and an upgrade in that style of quarterback. They could go after Deshaun Watson. And Atlanta is kind of rebuilding, especially if Atlanta decides, you know what, we could give you Matt Ryan in exchange. That would be an impressive situation. Don't sleep on the Carolina Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater has not necessarily shown that he's been that great quarterback that Carolina was hoping to have. And they legitimately could get either one of these quarterbacks. I would actually think that Matt Stafford would be a better fit in Carolina than Deshaun Watson, because Carolina loves to run the football and their offensive line isn't terrible. Matt Stafford would cost less, as I said, more like a first-round pick rather than 2 first-round picks, and Carolina would get an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater. Now, the New Orleans Saints definitely could legitimately benefit from either of these quarterbacks, but I think their cap space is like negative $100 million right now. I don't see any possible way that they have any chance of getting either of these quarterbacks unless the contracts were renegotiated so that Houston eats all the contract or Detroit eats all the contract, and in retrospect, they would give them more draft picks in compensation for them eating all that. I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, McChicken brings in that he thinks about the Rams, but here's the thing. Goff's contract's going to keep him there. That's the problem. That's why I didn't even bring up the Rams, even though I haven't gotten to them yet. But they may move on from Goff and attempt another pick somewhere else. Who knows? San Francisco definitely in the mix, because in my opinion, I think Nick Mullins and Jimmy Garoppolo are both on equal terms as quarterbacks. I know I'm going to get some pushback on that, but as I watch games, I see Nick Mullins as about the same thing as Jimmy Garoppolo, you know, as what he brings to the table as a quarterback. And Stafford and Watson would be good upgrades over both quarterbacks. Now, San Francisco dealing with cap issues as well. One of the reasons why they traded DeForest Buckner to Indianapolis over this past season. So, the best bet for San Francisco would be Matt Stafford, because the Houston Texans, as I said earlier, just signed Watson to a massive extension. Whereas Matt Stafford, over the next 2 years, is only going to cost $20 to $22 million over the next 2 years. San Francisco could legitimately get themselves a Matt Stafford in that situation. Now, I didn't talk about Matt Stafford in the AFC, so I'm going to go ahead and flip back over there. Would Matt Stafford... Now, notice I didn't say anything about the Jets in the AFC East. Not one little bit. Nor did I say the Miami Dolphins. Now, the reason why I didn't say the Miami Dolphins or the Jets is because the Dolphins are not going to move on from Tua. They're not. He was a rookie. Give him time. They're going to ride with Tua. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, with the Jets, they already have a very high draft pick, and they have Sam Darnold. Now, could they move on from Sam Darnold? Yes. They could legitimately use Sam Darnold as a trade to either the Lions or the Houston Texans for a pick. Or they could just go get themselves an Ohio State quarterback in Justin Fields. So that's a situation I think the Jets would be more likely to attempt rather than go out and make that trade. Now, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, could they go out and get Matt Stafford? Same reason why I said no to Deshaun Watson. Their cap situation is not in a good situation at all. and then Ben Roethlisberger is going to cost $1.5 billion. Now, I actually think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to want more of a scrambling, running type quarterback than what Matt Stafford provides. Okay? This is why they've been riding so hard with Gardner Minshew. And that because they have so many talented weapons on the offense, that if you get a scrambling type quarterback who can extend a play to help get some of these guys open for big plays, big spectacular splash plays, I think Jacksonville would rather have a Deshaun Watson over a Matt Stafford. Now, the Indianapolis Colts, Matt Stafford fits perfectly. The Indianapolis Colts have been basically playing with pocket quarterbacks forever. Even Andrew Luck, who was known as a good scrambling quarterback, could scramble and run, was still considered a pocket quarterback. They have a great offensive line, a good run game, and a very good defense. A pocket quarterback could make this happen. I mean, come on, Phillip Rivers, who not only was already immobile, but then had a toe injury, which made him like a statue in the pocket, still had a great season and hardly got sacked at all. Was one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, and he wasn't mobile. A Matt Stafford on the Indianapolis Colts makes great sense. I think Matt Stafford would make about as much sense with Indianapolis as they would with San Francisco. Those are my two top teams for Matt Stafford. Whereas I would love to see Deshaun Watson on New England, or I would love to see Deshaun Watson in, quite frankly, Washington. Now, the Denver Broncos, I don't know, man. Locke and Stafford seem very similar. Now, Stafford's a better quarterback than Locke. Or at least to what I have seen thus far from Drew. But I would say if Denver was going to go after quarterback, it would be the Houston Texans. In Deshaun Watson. Now, here's a scenario that no one has brought up that legitimately could happen. What if Detroit and Houston says, hey, let's just trade quarterbacks. They want to be traded out. Why don't we trade them to each other? That's a hilarious option. I don't think it'll happen, but it could. There's a slim chance that could happen. Now, why won't it probably happen? Because both these guys have no trade clauses in there, and they're not going to want to go from one bad organization to another bad organization. Now, Stafford could look at the Houston's team and go, well, you know what? They got a lot of good offensive weapons that they've been building that offensive line. They need a little help still, but it's a better offensive line than what I have in Detroit. And they got a lot of good receiving threats. Maybe I could go there. That's a possibility. I absolutely do not see, however, Deshaun Watson looking at the Detroit Lions and going, ooh, give me some of that. I don't see it happening. That's not something that Deshaun Watson's going through Deshaun Watson's mind at all. So that's my breakdown of Deshaun Watson and Matthew Stafford. They both requested trades. Those are the teams and the likelihoods that I see them going to. I would love, now, like I said, don't count out the Jets. It's possible they could land both of them, but they have more options than most teams out there do because Sam Darnold, I think, is talented, and they have a high draft pick. So they may not go, they have too many options, in my opinion, to go out and get a start. Now, they could legitimately trade their first pick. It's possible their first pick, being that it's so high, could go to Houston for Deshaun Watson, and that'd be that. And that would allow the Houston Texans to go out and get Justin Fields, which is a Deshaun Watson type quarterback. So, that is possible. But I don't know if the Jets would be thinking that that's a benefit to them. Now, Justin Fields, like I said, Ohio State quarterback. Ohio State quarterbacks have not legitimately shown well in the NFL. And on top of that, Deshaun Watson is a proven commodity. Justin is not. So I want to thank you for watching me here on Sportscaster. Don't forget, hey, McChicken, what if Brady retires after the Super Bowl victory? I don't see it, but what if? Okay, first off, Brady may not win the Super Bowl. Just saying. Secondly, man. I don't know. We'll have to look. It's possible, but Tampa has already got so many people on their team that they've dumped a ton of money into players on that team. Now, if Tom Brady retires, that's going to free up some money. And then, of course, but you got guys on that team that, like Chris Godwin, they're most likely not going to be able to re-sign Godwin because of cap issues, which is why he's considered a big-time free agent this season. And then, of course, you got Mike Evans, who's got the big money situation. I don't know. I haven't really thought about Tampa because I honestly figure even if Tom Brady somehow found a way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, I still think he'll stick around for another season. But hey, thanks for watching here on Sportscaster. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. And as usual, I want you to have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.